Today, you pick this up. Today we're installing, never mind, I got it.
Oh, here.
It is a ductless mini split inverter heat pump. This is the indoor head unit. We have the outdoor unit that we will show you later. For now, we want to get this into the wall and we'll show you why in a minute. All right, let's sit this down.
Okay.
There's a hole here because the things in this head unit have to make it outside to the outdoor unit. So that's the template. If you look at that hole up there, that is where that hole is, yep. Now what else is in here?
Cable.
And then the actual head unit itself. That's not a bad looking unit, I don't think. We're not interested in the front of it right now, we're interested in the back. You take out this, I sure wish I had a normal Phillips.
Like this one?
Too late now.
Oh,
it's a flathead anyways.
No.
No.
Spin it around.
Too late. So now it screws out.
That screw.
Now these are just little tabs you push in and this thing comes out. This is the same size and shape as that. And you want this from one end of your wall to the outside to go downhill because things have to drain out. I marked lines. Yeah.
Here, right here.
Thanks. This is level. It's at the mark for up and down and it's at the marks for side to side. So I'm gonna hand this to Nils. I just go through and I mark a bunch of these holes because this is where it's going to get held onto the wall. All right, the angle that we shot that from the first time was just looking at my butt. Let me show you what I did. After the template was on and we leveled it, I put this on and leveled that according to the marks that I made on the wall from the template. And then I went through and I traced a bunch of these holes that are in this bracket with a pencil. So there's a lot of little lines or a lot of little marks on this wall. And those are because we need to know where to screw this in at, which brings us to the next step, finding the studs in an insulated concrete form wall. If you're building a concrete home, almost everything has to be planned well in advance. The location of these holes. If you look under, we left about 1 inch up off this drywall. There's lines in these ICF blocks. And there's a couple of the lines are a lot deeper, bigger than the rest. And if you take something like this, jam it in there, that's a stud. Over here, it goes all the way to the concrete. We want the stud, not the concrete. Also, there's a screw right here, and we made sure to screw into studs, so that's a good indicator that that is indeed a stud. However, this is at the bottom of the room. We want to find them at the top of the room. Fortunately for us, they make lasers. Come back here, and I put this laser where that stud is on the wall. And now I can come up, we know that right through here, wow, it's not a very straight line, but it's enough. There's a stud. We find the next stud, which is right here. Nils, can you move that laser over to here?
Yep.
And that happens to go right through one of these holes that I marked, which is cool. So we know there's a stud we can bite there. And we know that the studs are every 6 inches. So technically we can just measure off of this every 6 inches and mark it that way. Now we know where these 3 studs are. I don't have to do anything else for those, but I do want there to be some holding power in other areas of this bracket. So I've marked this hole here. We have drywall anchors that we'll be using. We're only going to use 6 drywall anchors and 3 normal screws into the studs. So I'm going to hold this bracket up and see where these studs land exactly. Yay! Very good.
I'm here for you.
Are you? So now, because the heads of the screws are much smaller than the holes in which I need to drill into, Nils went ahead and got me these fender washers, which was very kind of you, Nils. And that's pretty dang solid, with the exception of little flaps. Phillips screws go into these little anchors that I put in there. I can pull down hard enough to bend these before this comes off, so I'm assuming that's plenty strong. So here is the back of the unit that goes inside the room. These are the line sets that have the refrigerant. What exactly is going on here, Nils? Like, what are these?
You have a high side and a low side.
Okay.
Your refrigerant from the compressor gets compressed, turned back into liquid, comes through your little line.
Okay.
Up here and it'll flash through TXV or whatever's on this evaporator, I don't know.
Those are words.
Then it'll come out hot here, warm, hot, go back out and takes your heat from the room and moves it outside.
And that's if we're cooling the room. You deal with ice all day. If we're heating the room, from what I'm told, it just reverses it.
It just reverses it at the compressor machine.
Dang, that's cool. These are thin-walled copper lines.
You can kink them.
If you just wrench on it, it will kink and break. Fortunately, I have friends who can fix that, like Nils, if we do break it, but I'm not interested in breaking it or fixing it. So what I do is I put my hand here and I grab the farthest end and I just slowly bend that up. Now these are the lines, including this drain hose, that have to go through the hole in my wall outside the house. There is another one, these electronic lines, and this has to go with this outside. That's the same hole we've been dealing with. We're right outside that bedroom, and over here is the line sets and the electrical wire that are going to go to the outdoor unit. We hid them up into the soffit. Now this is the electrical line that we have to get into the house. So that's got to go in there. If you're just going to the outdoor unit directly from your wall, you'll use that shorter one that came with the unit, totally fine. From here on out, it's kind of the same process though. We're gonna feed this wire through this hole and into there. But before we do that, I want to show you what's on the front of the unit. Wow. This is the face that you'll see. The front of it just pops open to reveal different things. There's some filter materials and fans and blades and stuff like that all over here in the main body. What I'm interested in right now is over on this side. They make it really simple to hook up.
Did you make sure the power was off first?
It's not hooked up to anything, Nils. I want to make sure there's enough power. Okay, and here's the fancy part. 1, 2, 3, ground.
There's the hole.
The hole. And up. Now you just pull a bunch of extra just for funsies.
Magic.
And then take this off. What this does is this holds the cable into place.
So it doesn't do that?
It doesn't do that, exactly. These are actually numbered, 1, 2, and 3. Those correspond with the numbers that you see under here, 1, 2, and 3, making it very easy. There's also corresponding numbers on the outdoor unit, 1, 2, 3, and ground, and you just plug them in to their corresponding numbers. These longer cables that they had to send us don't have numbers, so Nils and I have to figure out where we're going to plug things in. The red wire, for example, if we plug it into number 1, we just make sure that that same red wire outside plugs into number 1 on the outdoor unit. Green is always ground, up under that little plate. Can you see that okay? It doesn't really matter what wires go where, as long as it's the exact same lineup outside. And I think it's probably pretty important to wire up all of your units in the same way, just for consistency. And that's that. So as long as it looks like this in the outdoor unit, this green will go somewhere else probably in the outdoor unit, but yeah, as long as it looks like that, you're good to go electronically. Put this one back. Oh, the clamp, thank you. And now that hardly did anything, but it's fine. Don't use an impact drill for this kind of stuff. Just use a normal screwdriver. Now we can close this up, put it back down in its face, and now we have all of our things ready to get wrapped. I don't care if you're comfortable. It needs to be good for YouTube, Nils. We have to be really good friends and really friendly to each other.
Oh, we're really good friends.
We might get struck on YouTube as hate speech. Oh, there we go.
True.
This is the tape they send. It's not tape. I mean, depends on how you define tape, I guess, but it's not sticky at all. But you take all 3 of your things and you start as low as you can. So this is where I end before I get to the end of these. Obviously, you don't want to wrap them. Nils has provided magically some electrical tape. So that's a wrap. All right. Nils is going to feed stuff through while I lift the unit up, and just because it's going to be very hard to show this on camera, here's a fancy hack. You'll see me look up under there. What I'm doing is that screw hole right there, that one, lines it up exactly with that screw hole right there. So when you see me in the video looking up under it, that's me trying to line up those holes so that it clips into place. Now we're not going to screw it back into there. That's a reference that I use to get it lined up. It's not really that heavy. I don't know why I make such old man noises.
I just go in the hole.
Yeah, why don't you just put it in there? I mean, it's not like light, so I don't want to complain at all, but it's sure.
Can I help
I wish you would. Yeah. That's it.
It's all the whole time.
Isn't that weird? Yeah.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, you will be damned. Unrelated. There it is. There's the outside. All the things we had hooked up are protruding accordingly. We have the electrical wire here, the drain hose here, and those copper tubes out there, which will connect to these copper tubes here. But first, we need concrete for the outdoor unit to sit on. We're gonna pour a pad out back of the house. This is pretty simple. We first need to locate and compact the dirt where we want the unit to sit. We chose this location because it will eventually be under our back porch cover and it's close to our back door, just in case we need to get to it for some reason in a hurry. After compaction, a wood frame will need to be built to pour the concrete into. I got it formed up, tamped down with the 3/4 road base, and I'm using part of the house as part of the form. I had another board just like this over here, but I don't need it because the house is there. All I used it for was to level it and make sure it was in place. So now it's time for rebar. Rebar assembly, and I have it propped up on these rocks so that it sits in the middle of the concrete when it's poured. And I'm sure that there are plenty of you who disagree with everything I just did, and if you're wanting to argue about it, my algorithm would love to hear about it in the comments. Got it. This is the outdoor unit. It's a mess right now, but we'll get it cleaned up. Anyways, this is going outside the door. What? You're doing great, Nils.
I'll make sure that you don't have threads sticking to the top.
Look at that. Are you happy about that?
I'm so happy.
I'm ready.
Rubber insulator around the bolt.
I think it's more of an isolator than an insulator.
Insulator.
Okay.
Greg, who pounded those two in?
Who measured them for me? That's how you set an outdoors unit.
The good
So,
being on the good side.
There's no bolting that.
We got lucky, 1 out of 4.
It's all blurry.
And you're supposed to be able to thread that on, but even
Yeah, that's not enough.
it's not enough. Hold on. We're gonna try to pull them out now. Hey, that worked a little bit. That may just be enough there, buddy. You can do it because I'm filming. Do it hard on this one, yo. Heck yeah. Well, if that ain't enough, then we're not gonna put it on YouTube. So if I can get this tightened down enough, using the machine foot itself as a brace, I don't know. I think I just squished the rubber a little bit is all I did. Hey, Nils.
Hey, Greg.
Come sit on this. Hey, we got it. And that's how you set an outdoor unit. First try. This wall unit here behind you kind of has a bigger fitting coming out the back. What's going on?
A bigger fitting, one size bigger fitting coming off of it, but
So
it's also a larger evaporator.
So this is a larger unit. It requires more what?
It'd just be flashing through larger tubes,
Okay.
an evaporator, more capacity. But it says in the manual on page 3, they'll provide the fittings, but we have 2 of the same fittings.
They technically provided fittings.
They did.
It's just they weren't the right fittings. Probably an honest mistake. You went home and got...
Flaring tool, shipping cutter.
We're not going to teach people how to do this, but we are going to show the end result. The lines that are coming out of the wall go directly down to here. And I bet it's not even 4 feet down. And the line set is actually 27 feet long. So what happens is people will take these lines and they'll make a loop. And they'll just set that big loop behind the machine and try to hide it with something that looks nice or not hide it at all. I don't want to do that. So what we're going to do is cut the line down here and then flare out and make our own fittings. This is not a tutorial. We're not going to show you how we do that. Hire someone if you've never done it before. That looks like crap.
Looks like it'll work.
So you're cutting it, and then we're gonna flare it, and then
Connect it up to the machine.
connect it up to one of these, the middle one, because it's the middle box. There are torque specs for this, so follow the torque specs, follow the manuals, call the companies if you can't figure it out.
All right, put a vacuum pump on it.
Damn it, I don't know how to do that stuff. This here is a special fitting that I had to go buy. I couldn't find it anywhere but like a HVAC specific place. You might need to purchase one of these if you're gonna vacuum this. This is a vacuum pump, these are gauges. These are the 3 things that I needed to purchase, saving a ton of money instead of getting the pre-filled lines from, like, let's say Mr. Cool. These purchases were cheaper than the difference in price. So now we take that special hookup line that is on the blue side, which is low pressure from what I'm understanding, right? Yep. And Niels is going to hook it up to there. These are handy. There's only a hookup on the low side here on the unit, so you can only hook it up on one side. But if you'll notice, there's a set of 1, 2, 3 low sides, because this unit will power 3 different wall units. And we have the yellow hooked up to the vacuum pump, blue hooked up to the condenser. What is this? Heat pump? To the compressor or heat to the machine, heat pump, whatever. We're about to what? Pull a vacuum?
Where's your
It's the switches around the side on the top, back, front area.
back front here? Got it.
Oh, goodness. So now it's pulling pressure, and we're going to open that up, and you can see that needle dropping into the negatives. Very cool. We lost all the footage. The last thing you saw was us hooking up a vacuum pump to this unit here. I can't find anything after that, after editing it. So I grew a beard, and we're back out here to show you kind of what happened next. Under here was all the hookups, and you already saw those. As you can see, there's 3 sets of lines coming in. And that's because there are 3 head units inside the house. Anyways, we pulled a vacuum out of these lines. Then you put an Allen wrench in here, twist it in, and it pierces the gas that's inside of the unit already. And then that vacuum pulls that gas into these lines, and then you have gas running, and you're good to start cooling and heating once you get power to the unit. The black lines are the power lines, and they are coming down, looped up and into this box, and you can see 1A, 2A, 3A, 1B, 2B, 3B, and these are 3 power lines from 3 different head units inside the house. And you can see I just hooked them up 1, 2, 3, and ground on each of them. Over here, the L1, L2, and ground, that's power running to this outdoor unit from our power source inside the house. Now, I'm not an electrician. I'm not going to teach you how to do that. There's a lot of information on a sticker on the side of this box over here that tells the electrician what to do, what they need, specifications on this unit. That's up to them. The one thing I will show you is this is an emergency fuse panel. You can pull this and it'll shut this whole thing off, and that's needed here. And again, I'm not authorized to teach anybody anything about that. It is pretty simple, but if you don't know what you're doing and you don't know all this stuff without me having to tell you, hire somebody who does. Here's the other outdoor unit we have, and this is on the front side of our house. And again, you can see the lines coming down. We have our emergency shut off, and everything's the same, except this one happened to get caught up in a hailstorm, and you can see these damaged fins pretty bad. Now, this whole thing, I don't know what you'd call this, assembly, I guess. These are cooling fins. They got hammered with hail. There wasn't enough flow coming through this after that happened. When we turned on our head units inside the house, there was an error code. And essentially we bought this tool, fits in these fins, and it'll comb these fins out. And even with this tool, it was not easy. It took a very long time, but it was cheaper and faster than, you know, getting a warranty or getting a new unit or something like that. It was like 10 bucks, I think. As you can see, we have some more work to do, and we will do that, but for now we got it working.